Hello, Antonis. Do you hear me? Już zamknę. Czekaj, już. Do you hear me? Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah, I just heard you, so it's not very interactive.
Okay.
I think, yeah, sound is faster, but, video is much lower. Anyway, we're not live yet, as I can see.
No, I think we need to click this stream or something.
No, it's streaming, but they haven't yet give us the focus from Microsoft, I guess. There's nothing else we can do here.
Yeah.
Good.
It's only live.
So we'll start at 12 or 5, 11:05 your time, because,
Okay.
people come usually 3 to 5 minutes after the official.
I guess so. Yeah. Okay. I don't know. Should I change to shared or we don't care? Doesn't
What?
matter. Change to shared or we don't care.
Let's leave it there. Good. Let me see if no other session has yet focused for 12, so it's managed centrally. Yeah. Good.
Okay. Where are my slides? It's everything here. Okay, good.
I guess I'll do the same. I'll keep the camera view for the first couple of slides and then switch to full focus mode. It's very small. In the previous presentation, people were complaining. Yeah, it's a bit small.
Yeah, that you don't see everything. Do we know how many people are in our session? Somehow?
Yeah, you will see them from the right.
Okay.
If you go to people, that's the fourth icon from the top. Right now, it's just the two of us.
Two of us. Okay.
And we also have polls. I don't know if you want to. Oh,
I haven't prepared anything, and with the demo,
it doesn't matter. Yeah. Anyway, let's hope that we'll have questions, because in the previous session we didn't have any questions.
On SD1.
Yeah.
And how it went?
Well, it was good. Around 30 people.
Okay.
I don't know how many people attend the other sessions. I guess many more.
And in total, it should be, what, few hundreds of them, or how many?
I guess 150 to 200 people.
Okay.
If you go to the lobby, you'll have a more, definite picture of how many have joined so far.
Yeah. I don't want to switch anything right now, so I'll have a look later.
Yeah.
Just in case. It's not that important. Okay. Telephone is switched off. Okay. Good.
416 people I see here online. Wow, that's a lot. Good. If you get 10 to 20% of them, then I guess that will be good for us.
Yeah. The thing is that it's like 5 or more sessions at the same time, yeah?
Yes, but I don't think they are all security focused.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No. That's one for remote work. This could attract a few people. Distance learning, Azure HCI, Docker, secure coding, deep learning.
Yeah,
Yeah,
depends what you're looking for.
mhm. And we are live. Yeah. Okay. Good morning, Kalmera.
Good morning, everybody.
We'll give you guys 5 minutes to join. Okay. So I get a coffee, tea, chocolate, whatever. Wow. Too many sessions for one day. Cisco is at 1 o'clock. It's right after Fortinet. Who else? Okay. Very interesting sessions. Piotr.
Yeah.
It's good to watch them. I mean, it's some good stuff here. For Azure Stack HCI, that's a new one. Piotr, are you in Warsaw?
No, Katowice,
Oh,
down
Katowice.
south
Yeah.
of Poland.
How's the weather there?
Right now it's around 0, cloudy, with like 2
Zero.
centimeters
Oh,
of
man.
snow.
No
Yeah,
snow yet, right?
there is like 2 centimeters of snow.
Oh, Christmas time.
Yeah.
Okay, 3 more minutes.
Yeah, and we'll start.
Καλημέρα σας. Ξεκινάμε σε 3 λεπτάκια την παρουσίαση. Σε ένα λεπτό ξεκινάμε. Λοιπόν, καλημέρα σε όλους. Σας καλωσορίζουμε στο σημερινό session της Fortinet για Dynamic Cloud Security. With me, it's my colleague Piotr Nowotarski, who will show us a live demonstration of what Fortinet can do in Azure Cloud, mostly on infrastructure services like FortiGate, FortiWeb. We'll start with a brief introduction about Fortinet. So a few words from me, and then Piotr will take the stage. Piotr, I'm switching to Greek now. Okay.
Okay. Good morning, everybody. Yeah, and I will continue later.
Yeah. Η Fortinet είναι μια εταιρεία που έχει μια ιστορία 20 χρόνια. Φέτος κλείσαμε 20 χρόνια ζωής. Είναι η πρώτη εταιρεία που έφτιαξε το UTM από το 2003 με 2004 παρουσιάστηκε. Έκτοτε έχει μια συνεχώς ανωδική πορεία με ένα growth γύρω στο 20% κάθε χρόνο. Είναι αμερικάνικη εταιρεία, headquarters είναι στην Καλιφόρνια. Ένα στα τρία firewall που πουλούνται είναι Fortinet, από τα πιο μικρά μέχρι τα πιο μεγάλα. Και η γκάμα της εταιρείας ξεκινάει από very small business, small office μέχρι carrier. Το focus της εταιρείας είναι στο network security. Στοχευμένα λοιπόν καλύπτουμε σχεδόν το πλήρες φάσμα του network security από το physical layer με δικά μας devices, δικό μας λειτουργικό σύστημα, δικά μας services μέχρι τα πανότερα layers που μπορεί να βρει κάποιος με SCM, λύσεις SOAR, endpoint protection και ό,τι άλλο χρειάζεται στο ενδιάμεσο. Έχουμε γύρω στους 370.000 πελάτες σε όλο τον κόσμο, 500 κατοχυρωμένες πατέντες και πάρα πολλές ακόμα υποκατοχύρωση. Δικές μας υπηρεσίες security για malware analysis real time. Λαμβάνουμε γύρω στα 100 δισεκατομμύρια events από τις συσκευές μας κάθε μέρα, τα οποία τα εξεργαζόμαστε real time, ώστε να έχουμε up-to-date signatures και machine learning models που χρησιμοποιούμε στις πλατφόρμες μας. Είναι μια εταιρεία που έχει footprint σε όλο τον κόσμο. Αυτή τη στιγμή είμαστε γύρω στους 8.000 εργαζόμενους, συνεχώς αυξάνει ο αριθμός αυτός. Έχουμε υπηρεσίες 24/7 support, on-site, με response services και κέντρα ανάπτυξης κυρίως στην Βόρεια Αμερική, Ινδία και Ευρώπη. Αν θέλουμε να ρίξουμε μια ματιά στο portfolio της εταιρείας, έτσι με μια εικόνα είναι αυτό. Έχουμε, όπως είπαμε, δικό μας hardware, το flagship προϊόν βέβαια είναι FortiGate Firewall με μια ιστορία άνω των 16-17 ετών σε ανάπτυξη. Υπάρχει σε όλες τις μορφές, σε hardware μορφή και virtual, και είμαστε η μοναδική εταιρεία η οποία παράγει τους δικούς της επεξεργαστές. Έχουμε μια πλήρη γκάμα από δικά μας ASIC chips με δικό μας design, τόσο για network processing όσο και για content processing. Οπότε, σε ένα hardware FortiGate Firewall, από το πιο μικρό μοντέλο μέχρι το πιο μεγάλο, η κίνηση θα περάσει μέσα από ένα εξειδικευμένο επεξεργαστή, ο οποίος μπορεί κυριολεκτικά να προσφέρει wire speed στην επεξεργασία της κίνησης. Το FortiGate το πλαισιώνουν λύσεις για switching και access points, δικά μας προϊόντα, τα οποία διαχειρίζονται αποκλειστικά μέσα από την κονσόλα του firewall ή ακόμα και από το cloud. Υπάρχουν cloud πλατφόρμες από τις οποίες μπορούμε να διαχειριστούμε απευθείας ένα FortiGate, ένα FortiSwitch ή ένα FortiAccess Point. Οι υπόλοιπες λύσεις επικεντρώνονται στην ασφάλεια των εφαρμογών. Εδώ μιλάμε πια για λύσεις FortiMail, Proxy, Web Application Firewall και Load Balancers. Επεκτενόμαστε στο endpoint με τον Fabric Agent που τον ονομάζουμε Forti Client, που είναι μια λύση antivirus και anti-malware, και επίσης και με την λύση για endpoint detection and response, βασισμένη αποκλειστικά σε machine learning, με behavior analysis της συμπεριφοράς του κάθε PC. Συνεχίζοντας, έχουμε λύσεις για authentication και access control, με λύσεις όπως είναι το NAC και ο Authenticator. Το NAC καλύπτει πρακτικά όλο το φάσμα της αγοράς, είναι τελείως vendor agnostic, μπορεί να λειτουργήσει με οποιοδήποτε switch που μπορεί να γίνει managed. Ο Authenticator είναι λύση για radius και LDAP access και για two factor authentication με tokens, τα οποία τα παράγουμε εμείς και είναι ή σε εφαρμογή ή σε hardware. Όλες οι λύσεις υπάρχουν διαθέσιμες και στις cloud πλατφόρμες και στους τρεις μεγάλους όπως είναι Azure, Google και Amazon, όπως επίσης και στο Oracle Cloud και στο Ali Cloud. Και επίσης υπάρχουν και λύσεις όπως είναι FortiCasp και CWP που είναι καθαρά cloud native. Η εταιρεία συνεχώς επεκτείνεται. Πρόσφατα έγινε μια εξαγορά της Panoptra που είναι μια λύση για ITSM και network management που θα πλαίσει τις υπόλοιπες λύσεις τόσο για on-premise όσο και για cloud deployment. Όλα τα προϊόντα της εταιρείας δένονται με αυτό που λέμε security fabric, έτσι ώστε να μπορούν σε πραγματικό χρόνο να ανταλλάσσουν πληροφορίες μεταξύ τους αυτόματα. Κάτι δηλαδή το οποίο ορίζουμε σε ένα σημείο του fabric, αυτόματα θα γίνει propagate σε όλα τα υπόλοιπα, έτσι ώστε να έχουμε μια ενιαία ορατότητα και κονσόλα σε όλη την υποδομή μας. Το όραμά μας λοιπόν είναι μέσω του Security Fabric να μπορέσουμε να ενοποιήσουμε την διαχείριση της ασφάλειας σε έναν οργανισμό από άκρη σ' άκρη, στηριζόμενοι πάνω σε FortiGate Firewall είτε virtual είτε physical. Αυτό επεκτείνεται στη διαχείριση δικτύων τόσο ενσύρματων όσο και ασύρματων, εφαρμογών τόσο on-premise όσο και στο cloud, και όλα αυτά υποστηρίζονται από λύσεις για Security Operations Center και Network Operations, με πλατφόρμες όπως είναι το CM και το SOAR. Τα προϊόντα λοιπόν της εταιρείας καλύπτουν, όπως είπαμε, από το Physical Layer μέχρι το Application και το Cloud. Στη συνέχεια θα δώσω την παρουσίαση στον Piotr να μας αναλύσει τις λύσεις τις οποίες έχουμε στο Microsoft Azure. So, Piotr, the stage is yours. I'll switch now.
Thank you, Antonis.
Yes, to full screen view.
Okay, I need to stop sharing as far as I remember.
Yes, just a second. There you are.
Okay, start sharing. Okay. Okay. Just a second, because I can see that it has issues with. Okay, now it should be good. Okay, I hope you can see my presentation.
Yes, perfect.
Okay, a few words from the slides and then I will switch to live demo. In terms of security for the public cloud, we have a broad portfolio, as Antonis has already mentioned, and we also try to address different stages of customer cloud journey, I would say. What you can see.
Okay, good. Now I see your screen, yeah.
Okay, and it's next slide, I hope.
That's the first one. Yeah, we're good to go. Okay,
yeah, some delays might be. Okay, so depending on what stage of the journey you are, we are talking about, for example, network security to start with, and when you are starting to migrate your workloads into the public cloud, can be obviously Microsoft Azure, but what also is a great benefit of Fortinet security products is that we are cross-platform. So whatever platform you would choose, whether this is Azure, AWS, GCP, or maybe Oracle, then you have the same security working for all of the platforms. Then the next step is application security. So for customers who are already using, for example, Kubernetes or serverless, and they would like to secure their web applications, We also have products available here, FortiWeb, which I will also do a short demo today. And at the end, platform visibility and control. So for customers consuming SaaS applications, like for example, Office 365, where we can provide email security for them. In terms of strategy, we have three major pillars that we rely on: native integration, broad protection, and management and automation. And I will tell all the details in a minute. But what is very important from my perspective, we are talking about cloud security, is the shared responsibility model. So the very important information that always the customer is responsible for the data that he moved to the cloud. No matter what service you are using, whether this is infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, or maybe software as a service, always you as an end customer is responsible for security of the data in the cloud. So public cloud provider is only responsible for his infrastructure, like physical access, DDoS protection, correct amount of lines, and so on and so on. But the data security is always retained by the end customer. I mentioned that three pillars. One of them is native integration. And I'll try to show you in short demo what exactly mean by that. But as you can see, multiple integrations with, for Azure platform. So we are integrated with Azure Sentinel, where you can search through our logs, create incidents, and have an overview of what exactly is happening on your firewall. You can also do automation. So we can integrate Azure functions and different triggers that you can find, like for example, if there is a compromised host, then through Azure Functions, we can automatically put him into network security group, which is totally blocking in and out traffic from such a host. And then you can have a look what exactly is happening, why this host was compromised, and how to secure that, and how to put him back to health again. We also have multiple templates available for you to make the whole implementation process as smooth and as easy as possible. So we are talking here not only ARM templates, but we also have Terraform templates, and of course different cloud platforms are available. We have integration with Azure Active Directory, for example, for SAML, and SSO integration with our Forti client and SSL VPN, and different, obviously, sizes of our virtual machines. You can build different architectures like active-passive, active-active clusters, but you can also use scale-up setups where you have a set of firewalls running by default, and if there is more load to your applications, then on the fly we add additional firewalls to secure that load and to be able to filter that. So as you can see, we are highly integrated with the Azure platform. At the end of a few slides that I have prepared for you today, I would like to share the most common use cases that we see together with our customers across EMEA. Definitely, first of them and most common one is so-called Cloud Security Services Hub. So here we talk about architecture, where you have one central security VNet in which you are hosting all your security appliances. So it can be obviously FortiGate here as a most comprehensive appliance, doing north-south filtering, east-west filtering and segmentation, providing secure VPN access for remote users, but also for site-to-site VPNs, highly also integrated with our SD-WAN technology if you are using multiple links at your branch offices. So all that can be achieved by our FortiGate appliance. On top of that, you can also add, for example, FortiWeb for application security, or FortiMail for email security. But what is important about this architecture, that all other VNets, like for example your business partners or maybe your developers, all of them are through the VNet peering connected to this central location. And on one hand, you give them the possibility to build and play with their own environment. and use all the benefits of the public cloud. But on the other hand, you are sure that no matter what they are doing, access to and from that environment and between the VNets, it's always secured by your cloud security services hub. So on the other hand, you also have a happy IT department, security department who is taking care of that, who is using and filtering the traffic according to the rules, to the security policies that they have defined. The second one is integration with a virtual WAN, so a service that Microsoft presented a few years ago, a large customer with hundreds or thousands of branch offices, and we also are part of Azure Virtual WAN integration. So if you are thinking about connecting tens or hundreds or even thousands of branch offices across Europe or across the globe to Azure infrastructure, you can benefit from Azure Virtual WAN integration and also secure that traffic with our FortiGate appliances. So that's also part of our native integration. And the last common use cases that we are having is security of web applications. As more and more customers are moving web applications to the public cloud, usually with very important and critical and sensitive data over there, like credit card numbers, social security numbers, or maybe health information if they are working in the health sector, then you always need to think about security of those web applications. And what we have also introduced last year, we have not only FortiWeb available as a VM, as a container as well for customers going into Kubernetes, for example, already, but we also introduced software as a service, FortiWeb, which you can deploy in Azure, in AWS or GCP and use it as a software as a service, giving you web application protection, API protection also, and bot mitigation. But what is also very, very important if we talk about this product is the machine learning service that we are having on board. So we are using machine learning and artificial intelligence to make the comparison between regular application traffic and anomalies for which we don't have, I would say, any known signatures. Based on machine learning and artificial intelligence, we are able to find those anomalies, even if they are zero-day threats. We don't have any signatures for that, and we are able to protect and block that traffic. And this is very, very important, especially for websites, for customers who are using DevOps attitude, and they are changing their web application very, very often. Sometimes it's, daily changes or even hourly changes. So it would be very hard and very difficult and also resource intensive to keep up with correct FortiWeb signatures and configuration if we were not having the machine learning. So machine learning gives you the possibility to keep up with the pace of the changes that are introduced in your web applications and make sure that all the time the application is secured, even if it's changing, I would say, almost constantly. So those are, I would say, a few that I have presented for you. Let me just change. Okay. Okay, I will disable my webcam and hopefully a demo around our solution. So first of all, I would like to show you a few resources that we are having on our GitHub repository. So if you go to GitHub and look for Fortinet Public Cloud Team EMEA, you will find multiple, it should be disabled, the camera. You will find multiple repositories that we are having, not only for Azure, but you can see also GCP, AWS, or OCI, or even more exotic things like Ali Cloud. And if we go here, Fortinet Azure solution, we have multiple products available and also multiple, I would say, architectures. So the most commonly used by our customers is obviously our FortiGate, which has big benefits of next generation firewall in the cloud. So if we compare it to cloud native things, we have additional features available, obviously, like, for example, application detection, URL filtering, antivirus, SSL decryption, things like that. You have also multiple architectures available. So you can obviously deploy a single VM, but what most of our customers are doing is having a cluster solution. So for example, we can talk here about active-passive setup, where you have a cluster of firewalls in so-called load balancer having you a high availability model. It takes architecture around 10 to 12 seconds to fail over, depending obviously on Azure load balancer and how often they send the probe, how many failed probes are needed to fail over in the nodes. But you can benefit from this architecture, especially in production environment where you don't want to have any failures, and you would like your service to be available 24/7. We also have already ARM template ready, so you can just click, deploy to Azure, and then with a few steps of filling in the form what exactly you would like to deploy, you can easily, in like few minutes, choose and deploy this architecture. So you just define, okay, what VNets, what size of the VM I would like to have, like it's 4 cores or 8 cores, whether this is bring your license or pay as you go, what are the VNets that I'm using, and then review, create, and you have already your environment up and running. I will come back to our GitHub to show you a few more things which I think are very important around that. So as I already mentioned, different ARM templates, but we also have a folder with Terraform templates. So if you are using Terraform and you are using infrastructure as a code, you can also benefit from that and deploy that environment in minutes. What I also mentioned with native integration is auto-scaling architecture, which you can see right here. And we also have a template available to set it up. What does it mean? So you can have a setup with, for example, 2 bring your own license firewalls, which are running constantly, and they are used for, I would say, regular load. But if, for example, December is coming and you are an e-commerce customer, and then you see a spike in your throughput and you need additional firewalls to handle that traffic, then you can easily use pay-as-you-go approach, turn on additional firewalls, and everything is working in a one scale-up unit. So you can have 5, 8, or how many firewalls you would like to need to handle your traffic. And what is very important, that this is already built for you. So setting up really takes minutes to do that. What we also have is so-called cloud init. So if we go into the template and we look for custom data, then you will see that during the deployment, there is already data injected in the configuration. So we are building the setup with already predefined configuration, like the routing, the interfaces, maybe the firewall policies that you would like to have by default in your environment. So this is already all configured here. And obviously you can benefit, you can use our templates and build your own out of it. What we also have is VNet peering architecture. So I mentioned that this is so-called Cloud Security Services Hub, and this is already pre-built for you as well if you would like to test it. So as you can see here, it consists of our active-passive load balancer setup with 2 protected subnets included in the first VNet, and then you have a VNet peering created from 2 additional subnets that are connected to that. Yes, so spoke 1, spoke 2 that you can use and put your resources that you would like to protect based on the firewall. So this is all already created. You can again just click deploy to Azure or download our script, use it in your environment, and in a few minutes you have predefined build configuration with already firewall policies configured, all the routing or the interfaces, everything is already here. So if you'd like to test this environment, for example, it literally takes you 5-7 minutes, and the whole setup is configured in your Azure environment. If we move on right now to FortiGate already running in Azure, so I've got this setup which consists, as you can see, of 2 firewalls, so active passive unit using load balancer sandwich running in environment. We also have native integration on different sites, I would say, available. So if we go into security fabric and external connection, you can see that we can integrate with multiple public clouds. So it's Amazon Web Services, Azure, Google Cloud Platform, Oracle, IBM, and Ali Cloud at this moment, apart obviously from the private SDN. So if you're using, for example, VMware or OpenStack, we can integrate with those as well. What gives you that? So if we go right now to addresses, and I would like to create a new object, and I have a highly dynamic environment in my Azure. So I'm adding new servers constantly, everything is changing, and I would like my firewall to follow that. So I'm choosing right now Fabric connector, the SDN connector, and what you can do is filter based on the tags, for example, that you have created. So if I have a new Ubuntu servers, I can tag all of them, and based on that, if there is a new Ubuntu server created in my Azure environment, then it will be automatically added to this object, which then I'm using in firewall policy. So even if it's changing, every minute, then we, through the API, are doing API calls to get that information from Azure environment and make sure that everything is up to date and it's automatically added to the correct policy. So you don't need to worry, you don't need to remember. You just need to create your environment according to the rules that you have defined, according to the tags, for example, and then the firewall policy will automatically grab that data and put the object into the correct information. But what you can also do, I will show it here when it's a little bit larger, is also service tags, which, to my knowledge, we are the only vendor right now supporting that. So what does it mean? That if you would like to make sure that your servers deployed in Azure are making only the IP connections to, for example, Event Hub or SQL service, which is in Azure, then through the API call, we are getting the information from Azure. Okay, what are the IP addresses of the SQL servers that we have in Azure, and based on that, we are allowing traffic only to the IP addresses that we get from Azure. Obviously, this is changing, but you don't need to worry about that because we, through the API call, constantly getting the up-to-date information from Azure, and you can also benefit from that and use it in the firewall policy. So to give you an example, we have here view policies, and we can define, for example, an Ubuntu object, which is then resolved to multiple IP addresses which are having the same tag, which server equals to Ubuntu. If I will add a new server to that group, then automatically this will be added and added to this firewall policy, added to this object, and I don't need to remember to change anything. It will be automatically updated in the firewall policy according to the rules that I'm having. Like, for example, the servers should be checked by antivirus, web filtering, application detection, IPS, or SSL inspection when going to the internet. So obviously, this is a great benefit for administrator that it makes the life much, much easier, and you need less resources to manage that solution. Another thing, another native integration that we are having is the Azure Sentinel integration. So if we go into Azure Workspaces, then you can see that in the workbooks there is a already predefined Fortinet workbook, FortiGate workbook right now. And let's go over there and see what we can see here. Yeah. So I'm opening the FortiGate workbooks. We can see different events. Let's maybe do it a little bit longer for our firewalls. So this is traffic from last 24 hours. What are the categories? What amount of traffic has been, what is the user activity over there? So who has been logging in, the flow of the data, which we have seen on the firewall, things like event logs. Yeah, so for example, IPsec tunnel has been set up correctly. So all the information you can find here, together with the amount of data that has been sent to what IP addresses and what port protocols, destination ports, all that detailed information you can find here in Azure Sentinel. So if we are using CM for Microsoft, you can benefit from integrating our FortiGate in it, sending the logs from FortiGate to Azure Sentinel, and having that information available. What you can also create is analytics. So you can browse our logs, like let's give an example of the virus. So here, for example, I'm searching the common security log for device vendor called Fortinet for message that contains infected, and the activity is UTM virus. This is how we are logging that. And then based on that analytics, where you can define different one, obviously. This one is looking for viruses. I've got another example, which is looking, for example, for URL belongs to denied category. So it means that those websites have been blocked by our firewall policy. Or, for example, you've got maybe IPS scanning or different IPS signatures based on the log severity. You can define that. And through that, we are able to create incidents. So as you can see, this is currently opened incidents that happened. So I generated some dummy traffic, like, for example, to icar.org, or some IPS signatures, and the events were automatically created in Azure Sentinel. So you can, if you are using this feature, then you can assign those events to the correct SOC engineers to work on them and check whether this was the correct, the genuine alarm, or maybe this is a false positive, and what exactly happened, whether we have any compromised host, or what exactly happened with that. And on top of that, as I already also mentioned, we can create automation. Yeah, so if we go into automation, as an example, which is also hosted on our GitHub, if we will find a compromised host on a firewall, then you can also trigger a defined Azure function, or AWS Lambda function, or Google Cloud function. So depending what exactly what cloud you are using, or if you are using multiple cloud, we can also work with multiple clouds at the same time. And then you are able to trigger the event. And one of the examples that you will find on our Fortinet GitHub is Azure function, which will put the host into the network security group, which you have defined. And obviously this can be a network security group, which is totally blocking all the in and out traffic from that IP address. So hope you find this information useful around FortiGate. And the other demo that I wanted to show you is our FortiWeb service. So as I mentioned, last summer we introduced FortiWeb Cloud Service, apart from our VM and from our container for FortiWeb. And this is pure software as a software as a service solution. You can benefit from it using two types of licenses. Either this is bring your own license, where you need to buy upfront and define how many websites you would like to protect and what is average throughput that you would like to protect and filter. or you go with pay-as-you-go model, and then you pay for amount of traffic that is being filtered and for amount of domains that are being secured. So this is the overview, the dashboard of our demo environment, with information about block requests, how many requests in total have came, what is the data, what is the bandwidth. So as you can see, it's not much happening. It's just me testing the application, the throughput, the number of incoming requests, and what services I have up and running. It's also very easy to create a new application. Yeah? So if we go here, we click on Add Application, and then let's call it test. Let's use as an example some of the websites. We are defining, okay, whether this is HTTPS. We test it, whether this is available. And in the next steps, what you can use also is our content delivery network. So if I enable that, then I can use multiple regions across the world. So what we are also doing in the background, we are verifying on what public cloud is your application hosted. If this is AWS, then we'll try to introduce our service to the same AWS region that you are using. If this is Azure, we will do exactly the same with Azure region and introduce our service to your Azure region where your application is located, to make the latency and the quality of the service as good as possible and the latency the smallest the possible. But you can also enable global CDN network, and then we'll be hosting the service in multiple data centers across the world. And then as a last step, we'll show you the CNAME record that you need to change in your DNS, and then you have your service up and running generally in minutes. What you can also use that is to, for example, protect you against DDoS attacks in minutes. If you are having issues with that and you would like to somehow easily protect your web application, then you are able to, as you saw, deploy the service really in minutes, especially if you go with pay-as-you-go example, and then buy the service directly from Azure Marketplace, and then a few minutes later create that setup. There are multiple modules available depending what you exactly need. Yeah. So like cookie security, file protection, where we can filter with antivirus the files that are being uploaded, managing the browser protection, request limits. So multiple things are available. You can turn them on or off depending how advanced you are as an administrator, as a user, and what exactly is needed. Like, for example, whether you would like to check with biometrics if the regular humans, I would say, are visiting your website, or those are just the bots who are generating a false traffic to your application. But the thing that I wanted to focus on is the anomaly detection. So let's give you an example. We have a website here right now, which is working. So this is then vulnerable web application, which I have a little bit changed. I have introduced a few more parameters that on which we'll be testing the machine learning. So right now, if we come back to our WAF, we can see that parameter 2 is not learned anything. So we will try to hit it. So like SQL injection, or for example, cross-site command injection, we can see that it is going through. Yeah, right now our application is not protected. You can obviously use, we'll add the module of known attacks. We'll turn it on. And let's go right now to known attacks. It's turned on. We are in block mode. So known attacks should block access to our website. So let's do another test right now. Okay, let's try to hit it with SQL injection. Right now, as you can see, it's web page blocked. But as I mentioned, if your application is changing constantly, it's really hard to keep up on the pace with changes of that application, especially if your web application firewall stuff is limited, and they have multiple other things to be done. So that's why we introduced a few years ago artificial intelligence and machine learning to give you the best possible level of protection while reducing the time and the effort needed to configure this device, to configure the FortiWeb, because it's not only on SaaS available, but it's also available on our FortiWeb VM. So what we'll do right now, we have a few scripts that will start to send the parameters to our application to learn what exactly it should get. So if we come back to our tree view right now, parameters, then we see that parameter 2 is collecting the data. Right now we are on almost on 30% or above 50% of the needed samples. So we still need 700 samples to learn what exactly should be in that parameter. If we go back right now to logs, we'll see that the attack that I introduced earlier was described as a known attacks SQL injection. Yeah, so if we go here in the details, we can see exactly, okay, that's where the SQL injection that I did. The attack was coming from my home IP address, from Poland. What is also very interesting, that if you find this attack or any log that happened as a false positive, you can easily add exception directly from here. Yeah, so you can just click add exception, and it will be automatically, this traffic will be automatically allowed. So if we come back to our security rules anomaly detection, so let's see, okay, known attacks are turned off, so that's perfect. And in preview, we should see that it's still building it for parameter 2. Right now he is building it, so he received the requested or the mandatory amount of samples in order to be able to build the machine learning algorithm. So when he is doing that, let me show you a few other features of the service, like for example biometrics based detection. So we can figure out whether traffic generated to your website is coming from I would say humans, or this is bots. So we are checking things like mouse movement, clicks, but we can also inject some JavaScript to verify whether this is a regular user or not. We can also block different kind of bots, like slow and low attacks, for example. You have DDoS prevention available, and this is the great benefit because this is cloud service, so we can easily protect your website against those attacks. If you are using API to your applications, then we also have API gateway or XML gateway and so on. So if we go into add modules, then you can see that different API protection options are available. Yeah, mobile API, JSON, XML, or Open API. All those things are available. Yeah, we can also do man in the browser protection. Yeah, so we can verify where there is no Trojan horse intercepting the traffic between end user and the website. So that might be especially important for some finance institution using the website. But right now, let's come back to our anomaly detection. Probably we should have the parameter 2 already protected. Okay, it says it's running. So if we come back to overview, we should see the information that parameter 2 has changed from testing to running right now. So we see the information, okay, it's already running. And right now, let's try to do the same. So let's try to hit it with SQL injection. As you can see, it's web page blocked. Okay, let's try to do some command injection. The same information, web page blocked. And if we go back to our logs, there will be uploaded in a few minutes. Hopefully in a minute or two, we'll see the exact information that it was blocked by the machine learning. So if we go into the details, you see, okay, what is the threat analysis. Yeah, so this was SQL injection, which was suspicious or almost highly suspicious by our machine learning algorithm, and it decided that, okay, this should be blocked. Again, you can add an exception if you think, or it's wrong, it's false positive, it should be allowed, then you can easily add an exception from here. If we go back, we will see the same information. For the command injection, let's just find it. Okay, this is the newest one, command injection that we were using. And this is also a suspicious one. We see the parameter values from where the attack was coming from. And again, we can add exception if it's needed. But thanks to this machine learning features that we are having on board and artificial intelligence, it's much easier and much faster for you to first deploy the service and then the ongoing daily administration. You don't need, hours of time and dedicated staff to figure out, okay, what exactly has changed in the application, how I should change the rules, what parameters are right now allowed, and so on. All that things can be handled directly by the machine learning language, as you saw. It needs just hundreds, I think it's 1,500 samples at the beginning. If we go into anomaly detection, and then in the fast mode, and then it will automatically learn the parameters that you're having on your website. And then after learning, changing into running mode, and it will be able to protect your web app also against unknown attacks for which we don't have any signatures right now. We haven't seen that attack in the wild, but thanks to machine learning and how it's working, we still will be able to protect you against those attacks. So more or less, it's all our time that we had for today. Let's have a look if there are any questions.
No questions so far. Okay. Anyway, this will be recorded. This is already recorded, Piotr. So it's a very interesting session. I mean, very an excellent demo of what we have.
Yeah, thank you, Antonis. I hope people that were today with us find it interesting. Obviously, if you would like to learn more, know more, you can either contact the local Greece teams or directly me. I think all our details probably are on IT ProDev website.
Mm-hmm, that's right. Yeah.
So you can easily find our email address, whatever, LinkedIn. Just reach out to us and we're happy to help and happy to run together, for example, some small POC so you can see in your own environment what are exactly the benefits of this, of those products.
Sure. Yes. Thank you, Piotr. Many thanks for your time today. And let's hope that we'll have another more detailed session pretty soon. Okay? Thank you, guys. Have a nice day.
Bye.
Bye-bye.